through the solar plexus and straight into the heart. And in actual fact, that floaty, flowing, blissful, loving, charged implosion, if we pay deep attention, because everything is transmutable, because everything works upon multiple levels of understanding. If you are able to think more deeply and more clearly with our initial senses, you may hear that the tone of my voice is now, ever since I started the breathing, the Brahatin application, the tone of my voice has gone from being really soft to it's now starting to become more, as it usually is, more louder and more fiery, etc. Yeah, which is what's happening. And the reason for that is because of this charged implosion. So we're creating an energetic force on an inverse, on a respiratory inverse. Yeah, and these are things that we don't realize and we don't know about. We've not been told about. We don't know about them deliberately in order so that we can remember and reverse and fall back into our triumphant nature, having been experiencing the depths of deep adversity. So, right, this presentation, this is going to be the start of a series called Activation of the Philosopher's Stone, which is accessed via the heart, via the compounding of energy. Yeah, so the heart is activated. The Philosopher's Stone is the heart, and to access it, one of the main ways of accessing it, if not the main way of accessing it, is the compounding of energy. Right, and this is the start of a series that is going to run concurrent with the Plasma School series at the same time. Sometimes I write things down because things just always keep coming to me all the time, and that happened when I started increasing my levels of energy. When I started doing that, I started speaking about the brain and unlocking hidden capabilities. We're only operating with 50% of our total capacity to achieve. And then when I did that, I was approached actually by these media people who tried to come to me and ask me if I wanted to go onto television to do a television program about superhuman people accessing superhuman capabilities. And now when I say that, that's based upon my level of capability, knowledge and understanding. We are all unique and we all possess unique qualities that are supreme, super capabilities, but we have to access them. As I was previously stating, the labyrinth that we are in, the illusory labyrinth we are in, all things within it are transmutable. If I take a match and I light it, then what happened is as I light that match, then the oxygen, etc., in the atmosphere, will interact with that. As it heats up, it becomes charged. As its energy increases, it becomes charged. As its internal energy increases, and then it's then matched by the ether that we cannot see that is surrounding us. That's why the light that's in this room and the sound that's in this room, it's not actually traveling in any way it's all field modalities. They're all field modalities and expressions and pressures of fields, and then they perturbate the light and the sound, and then the oxygen and the nitrogen, etc. They then generate an alteration with the substance that we're speaking about. So with the flame, as it becomes more charged, what happens is then the fields become more free. The the mainstream quackery of science is going to say to you that it's just it's all particles. To just make up reasons so that they don't have to bring the spirit, so spirit doesn't have to merge with matter, because it is known. See, this is how we work as well. Subconsciously, when we fear things deep down, it may not be coming to the surface, but it's happening on a deeper level. So those unruly children that fear the supreme advancement of others would by default want to create up electrons and particles and all these other things to keep you away from that which will raise your energetic state into a more perfected state of being, which means that you now become sovereign of your own estate, and you are now able to master the reality that is manifested in front of you. So when you take the match and you light it, and it increases in its energy, if it continues to increase in energy, then what happens is those fields then become more free. The plasma is a charged proton. So then what happens is they become more charged. The voltage increases. As the voltage increases, this is when you get, like they call plasma tentacles. You can get like plasma charges. So the flickers of a fire, is the plasma. The flickers, the bits that you can't see, the gases that are coming off it. As it reaches a particular heat, as it generates more and more heat, it's like an elevator. I'm going to do a post on it. It's like an elevator lift. So what's actually happening is we can't see. We can only see visible light, so we can't see the nature spirits and the abundance of life that really does exist. So what happens is when you light something like a flame out here, it begins to transmute in its state of energy, and that's why the shamans, and others as well, used to use fire, and obviously you go into a shaman for healing, etc., to work magic, right? So that's one of the reasons why they always used fire. And the Scythians, I think, as well, also used fire to do that also, because you see, then all things are transmutable and all things have great depth. Now we're going to be using that same fire, to activate the philosopher's stone, which resides within your actual heart. So forgive me if bits are a little bit bitty, because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything at all, right? I don't want to miss nothing. So here, it was state, right? ATP molecules require phosphates, right? They require this phosphate, right? The cooked food vicious cycle will be ended via infinite light. Well, I've stated what infinite light is. The language that we speak is supremely divine, and it was supremely divine coming from the perspective of a transcendental, superior, immortal mind, right? That has to be connected to the creating masculine and feminine forces, the supreme. I can't even think of words to pronounce the supreme beings. Their toroidal movement creates this sound, light, and vibration that comes out of the voice box 7, right? So as I was just saying, this infinite light, is the cooked food vicious cycle is ended, right, by the infinite light that resides within our waters 4 and our urine 4. The reason that they are both 4 is because our mother, she speaks to us, her magnetism, the movement of her field, creates light, sound, and vibrational frequency, and then that is incoming through that she moves in. The movement is in angles. So as the movement is in angles, the movement is mathematical, and the movement is in number, but not the mundane mathematics that we've been taught. And that movement, that mathematical movement, she moves in 90-degree angles. 90-degree angles. That emphasizes, through the light, and emphasizes onto the physical matter plane. And then it's for us to decode it. Decode that language, and then use it like a compass for us to access morality, and for us to access supreme states of being, and for us to become mastered and tethered to her realm, so that we know exactly who we are, and that is why I do these talk presentations and so on and so forth, the insights and everything else, to break open the hidden light, of our divinity, which is encased within the depths of adversity that we need to remember, right? When we remember, you are becoming a member again, by accessing your core essence, by accessing your supreme state of being. When we don't do that, then we are in animal intellect, and then we are aligned with, like I was saying, there's a movement of all sort of energies happening that you can't see. So you are aligned with the effect, the field modality effect, perturbation of a finite, totally imperfect, transverse wave effect, which is a hybrid, electrostatic hybrid coming from the true dielectric causal pulse, which is our Father, which is spirit, right? That is how that works. Now, just one other thing as well. I'm going to be mentioning this. I used to do a lot of work, research on Nikola Tesla so many years ago, because Tesla also practices the sex transmutation and everything else as well. And Tesla is an ingenious inventor who's invented most of the things that we use: radios, vacuum cleaners, all these things. They all come from the Tesla's original work with the AC/DC coil and so on and so forth, right? And everything else that he invented, by understanding the true metaphysical workings of the reality that we are currently experiencing or experiencing. One of the things that Tesla did say, now I remember hearing this years ago and thinking, at that point, but I wasn't where I am at now, even still, but at that point there, I could still relate to it, because I was at those points there, I was still, not eating meat and so on and so forth, right? So Tesla stated, man's body is perfect, right? Food to me is harmful and dangerous. Sometimes I visualize the chefs are in conspiracy against me. Now, this is somebody speaking like 1800s. A mind that is connected to the ether, that is connected to the true realm that I speak about, that we speak about, some others speak about, we're starting to recognize and re-tether to, because all things, and Tesla also stated that there was always four laws to nature. Most of those laws are based around light. And there is also another four, which I spoke about in a different presentation I was doing recently, and the four workings of nature, which is your force, motion, inertia, and acceleration. Those four. Now, inertia is the main driving force, and inertia, the magnetism, which is our super cape, our powers, right, only happens via the loss of this, via the loss of inertia. I'm going to be going through a lot of this on my channel, etc. I'm going to be showing exactly how magnetic fields work. I have a demi-boron magnet in here, but I'm going to get the supercell and everything else, and so we could do that, because with the plasma we have to, because a plasma field is a mass of fields. That is what the plasma field is, and that is why it is so intelligent, because it is a mass of individual fields. And the fields, as Tesla would state, because Tesla self-realized these fields, these rotating fields, and it was his greatest discovery. The reason it's his greatest discovery is because then what happens is, through working with the fields, we're working with superior forces and phenomena which enable us to generate energy in all areas, yeah, continuously. But one of the other things that Tesla stated, yeah, and we only state these things through gnosis of self. It's the only way you can do this. You couldn't come out and speak like this if you haven't been actioning it yourself. You just wouldn't. It's just not going to work for you, right? So one of the things that sense energy, and I've said this many times as well. Consciousness is directly aligned to energy, to an increase in energy and a fall in energy. Yeah. So if you have an increase in energy, yeah, then naturally, yeah, the consciousness also grows with that as well. And the reason that is because of the field interaction that's now been made to take place. So when something like Tesla is telling you at that point there now, and imagine he's not knowing about some of the things that we're knowing about here. When he was using with the fields, etc. I don't know, but then Edison, they did know. And Edison was also saying that they know that there were waves that are connected directly to your body, and there are fields and spirits, etc., that are connected directly to the actual body in a gassy state. Yeah, and like Edison was going into it quite a lot, and so was Tesla at the same time as well. And you have to, when you recognize where you are. Yeah, that's just the nature of the way that this place works. So he's telling you there that he's wondering if the chefs were in a conspiracy against him. He also Tesla states, that the woman is the greatest thief of man's spiritual powers. Your fire. Because you see, this fire is a two-way street. Yeah, I did a post on Saturday talking about sex. People they can't speak about sex when they have less energy, less consciousness, because when the less energy, less consciousness you have, the more like to animal intellect you are. You don't want to speak about things because you want to continually keep the animal intellect going. Yeah. So we're saying that when we are making the reality that we experience. So when people do things immorally in a sexual way, yeah, it's because of the fire. Yeah, it's because of the reality that we are experiencing, and because we are following a wrongful path. Yeah, and because we are following that wrongful path. Yeah, then what it does is it leads us. It leads towards following a particular set of energy, a transverse wave effect energy is what I'm saying, and some. It affects more than others. Like we're going to go into here, some things affect people more than others, and that's how things are able to carry on. So some men may not, because you see, some men. So for example, if once they are been taught to look at women in a particular way, yeah. You see, I did this post today. I'm talking about this black screen. People think sometimes it doesn't relate to me now because I'm not at that level anymore, but it does because it's still always happening. Yeah, so it's when you watch these TV programs and the guy looks at the girl and goes, "Look at that! Oh wow, God, man, whoa!" Wolf whistle. Yeah. So wolf whistle. Wave effect. Yeah. So when we are doing that, yeah, they are then looking at that woman or that man, because it's vice versa. Yeah. You are looking at them from the perspective of just lust only. Yeah. As that continues, see, all things are transmutable both ways, up and down. So with Satan's tail. Yeah. Kundaboffa. So, as all things then are transmutable, yeah. When the individual is doing that, you keep actioning that. That thought then stays in the subconscious mind, yeah. That lustful thought. That moves on to can then move on to, so it's eating toxic cooked foods, sugary foods, etc. That is aligned with the same that is aligned with the same redshift frequency pulling down action. It's the same red fire action, yeah? Because this food contains a fire. How do I know that? I know it through the gnosis and the deep self-study that I'm conducting here right now. Yeah, through the metaphysical science that I conduct upon myself and others. Yeah, right. As I said that thought then, there was loads of things that happened, that come up, that I could say right now that I can't think of right now, where things happen. It's like, whoa, look at that, because you've watched it and seen how this redshift action goes from one effect to another effect. It goes from one to the other, yeah, until the chain is broken. Yeah. So then that person then, you eat those foods, it creates and builds the same energetic fire within. Then what happens is there is a need to release this fire. That's how it works. Then there is a need to release. There's always going to be a need to release, but it's only an illusory release because it's keeping you in a vicious cycle. Yeah. So that illusory release then is going to be the masturbation, because you see, this is what we are thinking about is lost. Yeah. So then what happens is, as that continues, depending upon the individual and depending upon what they've come down here to experience, some souls have come down here to experience, to take part in pleasure sexual experiences. Yeah. This place in matter is PG, pain, gain, pleasure, pain. Some come down here just for pleasure. Some come down here to experience pain. Yeah. So what happens then is through those alignments with these lower red activities. Yeah. This pulling action, because it resides with what I'm speaking about, resides within your blood. Yeah. It's called the fire of Prometheus, Hillel Ben Shahar. It's in your blood. Phosphorus, pH. I'm going to go into it. Yeah. So then what happens is some of those people within the constantly that masturbation, you've been told it's normal now. You get the post-treatise is post-tries treatise. Yeah. Something like that. 50% of people suffer with sadness, etc. after they do these masturbations and so on and so forth. But then there's other effects that take place, which leads one to continue. Because remember I said, it could started with the wolf whistle. The wolf whistle, yeah, you didn't get anything out of that, but you raised that lustful fire. You see, Hillel Ben Shahar, you raised it, you attracted Lucifer. Yeah. And then what happens is then you're looking for other redshift activities that align with that. So then what you start doing, eating chocolate and to appease the lust that you couldn't take with that person, etc., so on and so forth, or whatever lustful thought patterns. Yeah. And then the masturbation comes into play, and then depending upon who we are, that can then lead to us raping somebody, or it can lead to us having wrongful sex with an underage minor, or it can lead to or it can lead to us doing business deals, yeah, that don't serve the good of all, that only serve the self, yeah, because then the lust carries on into other areas, yeah. And that's what I'm saying with this cooked food vicious cycle, yeah, that is the same thing, because what happens is we need the light to survive. Yeah. Now the light is the pH, is infinite light. The infinite light, yeah, comes through the phosphorus. How does it do that? It comes through the phosphate, which is directly in your food. And this is why they need to keep, but then what happens is all the other things that are in the food or in the foods, they drain the energy desperately. So then they need to keep going back for more of the food. But you see, this is what I was saying about the multiple levels of understanding and the multiple levels of action that happen. So then now, that person now needs to go back for that cooked food. Yeah, because they need to go, but they don't realize this because they're only thinking on body sensation level of understanding, which is, so even the mind is on the base here, base energy, which is the reptilian R complex. So you're only thinking about yourself because you need to be up into the water, because the water is going to allow the mind to flow. So we can start to move towards the universal mind, which is true transcendental real intelligence. Yeah. which allows us to understand the more levels of understanding that there are in the place. So, for example, the conscious mind, the beta conscious mind, yeah, is looking for energy, but you only realize, because you're only thinking from your animal intellect, conscious mind, that you don't realize deep down subconsciously you are looking for energy, but you just think you're looking to eat food and to feed your emotions, yeah, but not really. You're looking for the phosphates and the phosphorus. That's then creating a vicious cycle. Yeah, because what is now happening, yeah, is that you're getting energy, but at the same time, energy is being depleted, yeah. And all the things that I've just been speaking about is the lust looking at the person, which is aligned with eating toxic foods, sugary foods that make you feel good for a quick instant, yeah. All of those things are all body sensation, yeah. All of that is aligned with body sensation, right? So then, and body sensation is green. Green is energy. That is telling us that the green energy, yeah, is there for us. The green is there for us to align and access superior energy. Yeah, like it's a base of the floor, Yeah, so it's to align for us to recognize and access that superior energy. Yeah. Now it said, you see, the Saturn and Sun, the Sun alkaline, the Saturn acidity. Saturn also works with the base. Yeah, Saturn also works with the base, and just above that, then you have Mars. But then Saturn also is working with the base, so we could be working with trying to create a balance here, right? Now I just did a post earlier, and in that post, right, it's just gone off now, so I'm just going to quickly just put it back up. In that post, I wrote this. Yeah, it says, what we think is bitter can actually be so sweet that your reality, your emotional field, can enter an infinite paradise through it. Right. So what we think is bitter, because our initial five senses tell us that it is bitter, yeah, deliberately, because you see, I say, our mother and father can play tricks, can play tricks, yeah, and they play tricks. Like even when you come here, right, I'm telling you about these 8 elements, right. Now the 5 of them are gross, yeah, and then 3 of them are subtle, and they give them to you. One of them is your false ego. The five gross ones, one of those is the earth body sensation. You can find this in 6,000-year-old scripture as well, yeah. But I'm giving you this from my own self-gnosis, yeah. And one of them is the false ego. So the false ego makes you think that you are something that you are not, and it makes you think that you already know everything when really you know nothing, because you can't know anything until you recognize that you are not that false ego. And alignment with your true ego is an alignment with your true core essence, when you truly recognize who and what it is that we truly are. Yeah. And a part of that is becoming more like a child, a more childlike state, where we can let things go and not be bothered by all these little things that matter not. And that is what we see now with this very touchy. You see how it works? It reflects back. You have to be ultra sensitive, yeah, but at the same time, the artificial beings and so on and so forth, they are ultra touchy, because their emotional field is in stagnation. But when it's like that, it's also ultra weak. So it's like, it's not weak, but what it is, it's ultra imperfect. So it has no strength to it at the same time. So any little thing that is said to it, they'll get oh no, you said that about me. Oh no, they're talking about me. Oh, they're doing this and that. And what that's doing is it's stagnating that own individual's field. But then they go around, what we've been taught to do, which is this post that I've written today, yeah, is to go around stagnating the fields of others. And also, even when we think this is not happening, just not through the Black Mirror scrying screen, but the way things are set up, it's the reality, the mirror can set you in as a mirage, like an illusion, where if you keep staring at the abyss, you'll become the abyss. So what happens is, as you keep staring at this mirror, as you keep staring at it, you start to think that what's happening in the mirror is more important than what's happening in your own shit, in your own self, because you've got some shit to sort out. Yeah, you've got some serious shit to rely on, because at the moment what happens is we are an MK Ultra. We have alter egos. We are under MK Ultra, Monarch, Butterfly, and this is why you have to be able to become from caterpillar to butterfly. Yeah, because of these things, right, that are set in place. So we're saying it's about the body sensation and then the false ego. So we have to. So these things are set in place. People think, this place, I need to get out of here. Blah blah blah. I even say it myself sometimes, because this is not our true home. But it is set in adversity. Yeah, as the greatest love story ever told is for you to recognize your triumphant nature in the depths of deep adversity. So she will do things like this to you, where what you think is bitter, yeah, is actually going to release your emotional field, partly release your emotional field, yeah, and push you towards this state of imperfection and infinite paradise. Yeah, by looking past the initial 5 senses, yeah, which could be aligned with the 5 elemental states at the same time as well. And we have to reach towards accessing the 5th spirit, yep, and we do that through the compounding of energy. So we'll see you on the next one.